Dorsal view, what we have here are the gyri, the sulci, longitudinal fissure. You will see a little bit of arachnoid on this guy. Okay? Here's our cerebellum, here's our spinal cord. Make sense? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this first, and then I'm going to cut it. So, here is our olfactory bulb, olfactory tract, optic nerve, optic chiasm, optic tract. This would be the infundibulum. You can actually see the hole for the pituitary and the hypothalamus to communicate. Then here is your mammillary body, motor movements associated with eating. Then here is your oculomotor, that's cranial nerve number 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3. It doesn't look like I've got an abducens nerve. I do have an abducens nerve right there. This is number 6.
Isn't the oculomotor 5?
No, oculomotor's 3.
Oculomotor's 3?
Old opticians often. So you go O3T2. So trigeminal is number 5. Trigeminal would have attached here.
Okay.
And remember that was on that piece of dura that we had. And I don't have any abducens to speak of. The abducens would be right here and right there. Notice it would be right between the pons and the medulla. Okay, so lateral to oculomotor is going to be our cerebral peduncle. This is our pons. From here to here is our medulla. This is our spinal cord. This is the ventral median fissure. Okay? Now, there's an important part on the medulla that has, and again, you can see some of the other cranial nerves, but we're not going to need to worry about them right there. But right here and right here, notice the bilateral raised ridges. Those are known as the pyramids of the medulla. So if, for example, I tell you the story of my car accident when I had my stroke, because of what occurs on the pyramids, things cross over. So that's why my stroke affected the left side of my face and the right-hand side of my body, because of information gets crossed over right there at the pyramids of the medulla. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, this is your cerebellum. We've already talked a little bit about that. And we do have a transverse fissure. There are baby's bottoms, the superior and inferior colliculi.
And which one is bigger?
Superior. The superior actually looks like the baby. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make something that looks like this. This is the cut surface of the thalamus. Right here would have been your pineal body. Would have been. Operative word. Okay. Here's our superior colliculus. There's our inferior. This is our cerebellar peduncle. My cerebral peduncles would be lateral to oculomotor on the opposite side. Do we have that aspect? On one side is cerebral, ventral. On the dorsal side would be cerebellar, because where's your cerebellum? On the dorsal side. Okay? Then you can see a very large fourth ventricle. And you'll also be able to see a central canal. Now, I'm going to actually make one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tease off or cut off I just took off the cerebellum. Okay, can you see the cerebellar peduncles here? Okay? In between is your fourth ventricle. So notice that if I'm underneath the cerebellum, that's where the fourth ventricle is. Then what I do is you can now see your baby's bottoms really easily.
What are those called again? Those baby
Superior and inferior colliculi.
Can you see them?
Yeah.
Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the hemispheres.
Like carving a turkey.
They do that quite well.
I have no clue what I'm even looking at.
I know.
I'm trying to keep your pineal body. So does it look somewhat familiar? No. This is your thalamus. Okay, somebody grab a sagittal section for me. Look on the
Can
table.
you send it to me?
Sagittal section.
You want
I think
sagittal?
there's one.
This one?
Yep.
Is this it?
Not sure.
Okay, does it make sense now? This is this.
Okay.
This is this. This is this. This is sitting on that. Okay? So to give you some perspective, this is the cut surface of the thalamus. I didn't have a pineal body. There's your pineal gland. That produces your circadian rhythm, sleep-wake cycles. Superior colliculus, inferior colliculus. Cerebellar peduncles, fourth ventricle, and the central canal is going to feed the spinal cord. So if you handle it, you'll be able to see the central canal. Can you see that hole?
That goes to the spinal cord?
Okay. So this is the spinal cord model. And if you do this,
That was just on the other day. Something about how pretty she looks. How pretty she looks.
see your ventricle? That's your lateral ventricle. That would have been what this looks like. It's nothing more than a space, but there's some important structures in the space. So when we do your sagittal section, here's our genu, here's our splenium. This is the body or trunk, here's the fornix. Caudate nucleus is here, hippocampus is here. Pineal body would be right around there. superior, inferior colliculus, thalamus, optic, hypothalamus, mammillary, cerebral peduncle, pons, medulla, spinal cord,
I have to go drop food off.
arborvitae, tree of life. Okay? That's all they wrote.